Three, two, one. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Delusions of Grandeur. I'm one of your hosts, David Streggy, and here we are going to go on about a film from 2010 that was directed by Erick Dowdle. It was produced by M. Night Shyamalan. As well as the story was provided for by him, and the film is called Devil. So let me just first state by saying what IMDb says about the film, and then we'll get into our first impressions. So, a group of people are trapped in an elevator, and the devil is mysteriously among them. So, what were your first impressions of this film? Was this a first time watch for you?
Actually, this time, no. A while ago, a few years ago, I think, I happened to stumble upon this movie on TV, and by the time I got there, it was something like halfway through the movie, and I made a dumb mistake of watching it from there instead of waiting to watch it from the beginning another time. So this time, when I actually watched the whole movie, I already knew the solution to the main mystery of the movie. So that was a bit of a bummer, but oh well, it's my own fault. Yeah, but
skipping ahead to the end now, are ya?
Yeah, I somehow happened to do that this time. But yeah, even knowing the main secret, the movie was still pretty good. There was, I mean, since it's been a while since that time when I saw what I did, there was still a lot for me to discover in this movie. A lot of the story and the character developments and stuff. So I was still able to enjoy it, and it really has a pretty good story. I liked it pretty much. What about you?
I liked it a lot when I first saw it, and I think one of the things that M. Night Shyamalan was good at the time was being able to produce something that was worthwhile in the horror. See, a lot of people believe that M. Night Shyamalan became a hack director after a certain point. Some people dislike some of his films, whereas I don't think that he was a hack. There were some people that actually did like some of those films that people didn't like, but regardless, he wasn't the one helming this. Erick Dowdle was, and I think it did well enough on its own. I mean, the plot is very simple. These, like, 5 people, I think,
Yes.
end up showing up in an elevator, and the elevator stops, and things begin happening. But not, before we get into that, let's talk about the previous thing that is happening. So there's a detective in the story where apparently his wife, let's see, Detective Bowden is his name, and that he is played by Chris Messina. And I guess his wife and child had died like 5 years before, and I guess he was just returning to the job, I guess. And he caught a case of a suicide. that happens here in the very beginning. We see somebody fall into a truck, except they fell onto a truck that was like far from the building that they supposedly fell from.
Yeah.
So while the detective is doing his detective work, we get the moments where we see some of the people come in, not sign the registry, and walk on to this elevator. And I guess they're on their way to different levels. And there's an older woman, there's a security guard, there's a dude in a hood, and there's a young woman and another guy who looks like a salesman of some sort. So the guard is played by Bokeem Woodbine. The mechanic, he's played by Logan Marshall Green. Elsa Nahai is played by Carolyn DeVarnes. Jenny O'Hara was the old woman. The young woman was played by Bojana Novakovic. The salesman, he was played by Jeffrey Arend. Jacob Vargas was Ramirez. Ramirez was another security guard that was on call. That I think he kind of plays into this whole thing, the whole mythos of his Spanish, should I say, bedtime story.
Yeah, I must admit, throughout the movie, I did find myself kind of wondering what kind of mother would tell that kind of story to her children as a bedtime story.
I don't know, just the same as whatever mother would tell their children go to bed or the boogeyman might get them.
Okay, good point.
Similar stories like that where they try to keep you in bed at night, and normally it's the fear of whatever your parents instill in your head to not leave your bed because they want to be able to sleep too.
Yeah.
Especially with children that wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Anyways, well, you get the point. In any case, so these people get into the elevator, and then suddenly the elevator stops, and none of them have cell phone reception. Some of them begin panicking. Some of them begin showing some signs of claustrophobia, and just all kinds of mistrust comes to them. The salesman, he starts to sing an old song and makes fun of the old lady, but while all of this is happening, the detective is following the trail of this mysterious suicide person, where he's come across a building where there's all kinds of glass that is like on the concrete down below, and some guy is sweeping it up, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, gotta stop you. This is a crime scene." What do you think about this whole like mystery suicide thing that is happening on while this whole thing is going on, up until he gets himself involved with these people on the elevator.
Well, apparently a suicide scene was seemingly necessary for the story, as this legend or whatever about the devil that's told at the beginning, it says that the whole incident has to start with a suicide, although we never get to know why exactly it has to start with a suicide, but yeah, then it happens. And I must admit, I kind of wish we got to know more about what happened to the guy who killed himself. All we got to know is that he seemingly lost some money, some assets, and so on, and he decided to end his life. But then there was his suicide note, which is said to be the person who found it said that suicide notes are usually either perfectly rational or completely insane, while this one was seemingly both, as it mentions the devil and something like that. So I kind of wish we got to know more about that part of the story, the side of the story of the guy who committed suicide,
I
what
have a
he saw, and
I have a feeling that we all we are supposed to know is that this guy is pretty much his death it pretty much is the messenger of death. The that death will be coming, but we don't know whom. Like he is a symbol of he must have seen the devil come through. you know, um,
possibly.
and I feel like he is very much a predecessor to what seems to be about to happen. And the thing is, it's like these people are, while shit happens to them, they're judged. They're judged to go to heaven or to hell at this moment. And I think that's why they die. And that's why when she said, "Are you ready for your turn, your time?" Well, the thing is, this movie is surrounded by mystery.
Definitely.
So, what do you think about the people in the elevator? What do you think about the characters involved here? Do you think that they are fleshed out enough?
Well, pretty much, yeah. We can clearly see that each of them is bad in their own way. Some more, some less. All of them have done bad things in the past. Some of them have regretted it. Some of them have not. And yeah, it's also I would say left up to interpretation whose crimes are worse than who deserved more severe punishment than who. Uh, and so, yeah, I would say they were fleshed out pretty well.
I think they were fleshed out over time pretty well, because when the detective was running down information on each of the people, because he took like the list of the people, and he said focus on the people who didn't sign the registry, and so on. Well, around the time that the elevator stopped, that's that's kind of where Ramirez sees this image that is caught on camera on their end, and he basically told the detective at one point in time, "When I was a child, my mother would tell me a story about how the devil roams the earth. Sometimes she said he would take human form so he could punish the damned on earth before claiming their souls. The ones he chose would be gathered together and tortured as he hid amongst them, pretending to be one of them. I always believed my mother was telling me an old wives' tale."
Yeah, that's an interesting story, I must admit. I'm kind of wondering whether they made that story up for this movie or if that legend has already been told even before the movie. I might look it up later.
Yeah, just trying to see, because there was something that um, he specifically said about the people, but I'm not seeing it in the quotes. He said one is a liar, one is a thief,
Oh,
one is something else. Yeah, and he was like, "Yeah, this is quite a crew to put together, guys."
yeah, it's a bit like, although I probably wouldn't have made that connection if I hadn't read it on IMDb, but it's kind of similar to And Then There Were None, that story by Agatha
a little
Christie,
bit,
which,
a little bit, Agatha Christie.
yeah,
We've covered a couple of those, haven't we?
indeed.
So, basically, we have we have a conundrum of sorts where the security guard gets on to take something to a different floor. I'm not sure what the other people were planning on doing, although when it came across the mechanic, I think that's what he was. He basically put his tools away in a bathroom, and they thought it was him for a moment. And then, of course, his fiance comes in and says he was there for an interview. Um, you know, and that piece is going on. It's like they were putting pieces together of a puzzle, and how to integrate them just correctly gives it more of a whodunit atmosphere. And I think that's kind of what this becomes, because the person that was annoying the most ended up dying violently too, with a piece of glass in his fucking neck, And then we get the old woman who evidently was hung by a wire, and every death seems to happen when the lights go off, and there's shadows and what looks like a creature of some sort when the security guard puts his phone on for a moment and whatnot, and then it's down to three people, and the security guard, somehow his neck gets twisted around up against the wall. There's some guy who tries to go down there to help them, and he gets killed. So any help that seems to be going towards them, while innocent enough, is thwarted while this whole thing is going on. And I guess the whole thing is tied into the detective and his wife and son. because there is one person among them that was responsible for their deaths. And I guess this was his comeuppance, basically. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
this was the thing, and I guess this was where his soul played yo-yo with the devil, because the devil came to take his soul. Well, he was compliant, which was, I think, surprising to the devil. And I guess somehow he got a hold of a walkie-talkie and basically said that he was involved with the death of a mother and child on Bethany Pike Road or whatever. And it just so happens that the detective, his family, were that same people. So he took him on his ride. And I guess because of everything that he'd seen, he forgave him. But what do you think? What do you think about that? This whole thing. I mean, what do you think? Were the pieces put together really nicely?
Yes, for the most part, I do think so. I just think there were maybe a few details about the people in the elevator that were left a bit unfinished. But for the most part, yeah, it was pretty good.
Okay, yeah. So the old woman was apparently a thief. They caught her on camera stealing someone's wallet before she went on the elevator. The young woman, I guess she kept marrying people, was kind of like a black widow of sorts. That's what the detective found out. And I guess she was going to a lawyer on the premises about it. And that's why he spoke to a lawyer. And of course, he tried to say shit about how he's got to protect his client's shit, but you know, he still got some information out of him. And what do you think about the detective himself?
Well, actually, I found him the most interesting and thought-provoking character of the movie. I really like the message they conveyed through his character and his story about forgiveness, because at the very beginning we see him when this other guy, whatever his name was, tells him that he should forgive the guy who killed his family, and he says he cannot forgive it because the guy ran away. He just left this apology message on a car wash coupon or something like that. And at that point, to him, it felt like some effortless apology, like the person who did it was not genuinely sorry for what they did, but later on, when he was face to face with the guy who did it, and when he got to see that he really was sorry for what he did, when he got to know the whole story and got more insight into what was going through the killer's mind, that made it much easier to forgive, which, although fortunately, none of my losses has been as severe as a family member getting murdered or anything like that. But I can clearly understand why when you see that a person is genuinely sorry for what they did, it makes it much easier to forgive than if, as far as you know, the person who did it has no remorse at all. Then it's much more difficult to forgive. So yeah, I found that part of the story quite interesting to think about.
I thought it was interesting, especially after the fact, he could have like done something like horrible to him if he'd wanted to. I mean, he had him in the car. It was just him and him, at the
Indeed.
end there. He had the power to, if he wanted to, enact revenge. And for many years, I guess he said that he had thought of everything that he was going to say to him. But when it came down to it, especially with everything that he'd seen happen, I think he didn't have it in him to not forgive him because there are worse things out there.
Well, yeah, like I said, I think he forgave him because in the meantime he got to know more. He saw him and he realized that he was genuinely regretting what he did. He found out how the accident happened, that it really was an accident, that the guy didn't intend to do it, and he saw the guy's emotional condition and everything. He saw genuine remorse, so I guess that's what made him able to forgive.
Well, yeah, and that's what you want to. I guess in reality, when it comes to shit like this, you you never know what to expect with emotions flying high, and emotions did fly high in this one. Um,
Oh, it did.
I mean, already the passengers were annoying to each other, um, and shut in a closed space and whatnot. You never know what's going to go on and who's going to fly off the handle or, you know, shut off from the world. What are people left to do? I mean, are you going to crack under pressure if you're in an elevator with a bunch of people? I don't know.
Hmm.
I probably wouldn't have gone that specifically. Uh, shall I say nutty right away, because that old lady, she was quite a whiner in the very beginning. I mean, she was like, "Well, can't you people fix shit? You know, don't you people have an emergency thing, or you know?"
Mm.
It, it's like, what the
It
fuck
did.
is what the fuck is wrong with you? Like letting things happen the way. I mean, to me, I would probably wait a little bit, before I started panicking.
Mm, yeah, and also I think aside from mentally torturing and killing these people, I would say the devil in this story was also subtly making fun of the human mentality, like showing how easy it is to turn people against each other instead of them cooperating to find a solution.
Ah, definitely. Um, see, every single one of us probably has sinned in our lives, whether it's sneaking to the refrigerator to get a cookie or a piece of cake, um,
Yeah, we all have done that.
or something like that. I mean, things that your mother tells you not to do. I mean, uh, if you haven't, then I guess you're lucky. But if you've ever stolen a cookie from the cookie jar, or snuck out at night just to go see a movie, or to go see uh, significant other, or to play the latest game at a friend's place, or things of that nature. I mean, these are little sins uh, that I can speak of. I mean, if you've ever walked out of a store without paying for something and not realized it, you know, things of that nature.
Yeah, actually, at one point that did happen to me by accident. I was at a store with some friends and I was buying a bottle of water, but while we were at the cashier, we were having a chat among each other, and I just forgot to put that thing on the desk, and I ended up walking out with that bottle of water.
Oh my God, you're going to hell. Anyways.
Oh my.
God shall strike you down and smite you where you stand.
Oh.
No, just kidding.
Well.
Hell and brimstone. No, just kidding.
Yeah, well, it really was an accident. What can I say?
What are you going to say in front of St. Peter? Are you going to say that it was an accident? I'm sorry. Can you please let me into heaven? You know, I mean, these are the things that you never think about before you get to that place. All of a sudden, we're all standing in front of the pearly gates, and he'll point that big ass finger and be like, "Why should I let you in
here?" Possibly.
I don't know. I'm just messing. But in any case, yeah. So this really is an intense movie at certain times, and I thoroughly enjoyed it for what it is. I mean, it's one of those movies that it's straightforward. It really is. It's kind of a straightforward plot, and there's not a whole lot. I mean, you can theorize what you think about each of these different things that go on, because you got the detective and his wife and child who were murdered. Then you've got the story of the devil who walks on Earth like a human to torture those who are here on Earth. And you got the different individual stories of the different elevator riders that are here. You've got the security guard who is only a temp, and apparently he's got a rap sheet. You know, I guess maybe he's trying to redeem himself. The guy who has an interview, the lady who came to see a lawyer, the old lady who came to steal everyone blind, and the salesman who could probably sell his soul to you. But in any case, what do you think about the old lady character? Did you expect the first time that you watched this for it to be her?
The first time I was watching it, no, I did not expect that. And actually, it made me wonder if I had watched it from the beginning without knowing anything. I wonder if her behavior in the elevator would have made me suspect anything, because well, okay, while I was watching it, now I already knew it was her, so it was difficult to think of it from an unbiased point of view. But the way she was interacting with those other people in that accusing voice and like reproaching the guy for not having a walkie-talkie, for not having this, for not doing that, blah blah blah. I kind of did have a feeling that she had some sort of agenda in what she was doing. Now, whether I would have had that impression without knowing the secret already, I honestly don't know. So,
Well, I know I didn't expect her to come back to life like that. That I mean, that was
It,
unexpected. And then when she was like, "What do you expect to be forgiven or some shit?" You know.
it, yeah, that was also a bit like and then there were none because in that story we also had the killer fake their own death and then come back later.
Well, and he was very contrite, and I think I love that line that she says, "Damn, I really wanted you."
Indeed.
And then that's when like she suddenly disappears, and he's left with all these bodies. See, that's why I think that in a sense that all those other people were judged for some reason, and she specifically wanted his soul for some reason. I don't know why,
Huh.
but it was definitely a weird ending. Weird that nobody was still alive by that point because he thought maybe he could bargain with their souls or whatnot. So I thought for a moment maybe like he would go and they would come back or some shit, after that happened. And that didn't happen. I mean, it was still a massacre, you know.
Indeed.
Those people did die around him. So
Mm, yeah.
whether or
Though
not for a reason, I don't know. I wish that maybe we could have seen what they were shown because he was shown the car crash. He was told it was his time now. It's like they were shown
probably some of
things that
their
some of their transgressions, and that's why they died. They didn't. They weren't contrite. You know.
yeah, and maybe the devil wanted his soul so much because he was the only one who was trying to, who was aware of the wrong he did, but he was trying to get away with it. He was trying to run away from what he did. While these others, they were just doing their things without even thinking that what they were doing was wrong. Like, yeah, this salesman guy was scamming people for money, but to him it was probably just business. He wasn't paying much thought to what he was doing being wrong. Then this young woman, from what I understood, she was marrying rich people and ripping them off for money, which, yeah, a person like that also wouldn't think of that as a big deal.
No.
And then, he, yeah, and then there was the guy, this security guard who apparently in the past he
Assaulted someone.
yeah, and beat them up so badly that they fell into a coma. But it was all legally processed, and if he was supposed to get any earthly punishment for his crime, he had already gotten it. So uh, this guy Tony, he was the only one who was aware of having done something wrong and hadn't been punished for it, and he was trying to get away with it. So
which I
maybe
wa-
that's
which I wonder if something like this actually does go on like regularly. That the devil comes down in human form and punishes those who thinks need punishing or some shit. That would be strange.
well. In our universe, I really doubt anything like that is happening.
Oh, so you don't think that this is actually going on in our universe?
Well, I personally don't think so, but I respect people's different beliefs. So if someone does believe it can happen, then they can believe that. I mean, it's not like I have any solid evidence of my view being correct, and
It's it's entirely possible. I'm not saying it's not, but whether it is or isn't, I have not seen anything to prove that it has. But in any case, if there is a devil, wouldn't you think that there would be a God?
if there was a devil, then yeah, there would probably be God too, because in every story they
Well,
always come together. Well, maybe sometimes there is a God without the devil, but not the opposite.
well, I know in Christianity there's only one God, but there have been many mythologies that believe there have been many gods. So,
Oh yeah.
but that being said, did you have a particular favorite scene from the film?
Well, it would probably be the end when the detective had his final conversation with Tony and told him he forgave him. Like I said before, I found that the most thought-provoking and the most interesting part of the movie. And yeah, if I hadn't already known some things before watching it, maybe my favorite scene would have been the one when we find out that the old lady was the devil in a human form, because it would have been a shocking plot twist. But yeah, this way I couldn't be shocked by that when I knew it from earlier.
Okay. My favorite scene is probably the moment when the old lady gets up and starts doing her, you know, she gets those red eyes, and uh,
Oh,
she, uh, and then when he basically like uh, uh, tries to be contrite or whatnot, she's like, "What? Don't you say that!" And then
oh
the elevator
yeah.
goes down, and then she just stares at him after he's like told the detective that he killed a mother and son out on whatever road and whatnot. And he's like, and there's this like silence, and you're staring at it. It stares back at him, and she's like, "Damn, I really wanted you."
Mm, indeed, and when her voice got distorted into something inhuman, otherworldly, that was quite impacting.
Oh yeah, and I think that's kind of what made the movie. I mean, you didn't expect what it was that came out of her. Um, the moment of dread was building because of the the old wives' tale that the security guard's mother used to tell him, and because the detective kept saying, hypothetically, what would happen? How would save them? And he's like, technically, I guess it's kind of up to them. I mean, they've got to be shown that their true selves or some shit like that, you know. And how do they deal with that when they're shown their true selves, you know?
Indeed.
So I mean, kind of like it's kind of like the um, second part of the never-ending story. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. Then in the never-ending story, the kid goes on a journey to see the Southern Oracle, and there was a oracle, an oracle after that he had to come up with, and I guess he had to face his true self. And to me, that kind of mimics that whole expression. We'll have to watch that one of these days. You don't sound like you've seen it.
Uh, maybe I could have seen it long ago, but I must admit I don't remember it. Mm,
Well, in any case, um, other than that, let's see. What did you think about the music?
well, the music was actually quite interesting. There were some songs. I found the one that was playing in the elevator that those people found annoying. I got a bit curious about that song. Like throughout the movie, I thought there might be some supernatural meaning to that song, but in the end, no, it was just something that someone was playing without realizing they hadn't turned it off. But yeah, I think I will look it up later and see if the lyrics maybe have some hidden message relevant to the story or something.
So the music was done by Fernando Velazquez, and he was known for his work on A Monster Calls from 2016, Crimson Peak from 2015, Hercules from 2014. Um, I'm just oh, okay, Marrowbone. Let's see, just looking. The Adventurer, The Curse of the Midas Box, The Spanish Affair, The Last Days, All That Matters Is Past, The Impossible, The Monitor, For the Good of Others. Let's see, a movie called Shiver, which I think was a horror film of some sort. Oh, he did music for The Orphanage, which I believe was Guillermo del Toro,
Ooh,
if I remember correctly. Yeah, that was Guillermo del. It was presented by him, I think,
ooh.
but del Toro had something to do with it, if I remember correctly. I think he. I think he was. Yep, he was an executive producer on the project. So at first, I thought it was him who directed it. But yeah, this guy did the music behind The Orphanage, which is kind of cool. So, other than that, did you have anything else to add about this film?
Hmm, I don't know. What about you?
I don't think I have anything more to add. This was pretty much a straightforward film. I mean, it there wasn't really a whole lot to like go off on tangents about in this film, other than you know the I mean, we've gone around in circles and talked about the different cast and whatnot. Not
Mm.
the only one that I don't think we mentioned was the one security guard who got electrocuted.
Oh yeah, and did we mention the guy who climbed down and got killed in some freak accident?
Yeah, that was that 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 was not cool. I mean, those two were innocents, along with two of the people who were riding the elevator as well. It's like those people were collateral damage. So,
Uh, yeah,
unfortunately,
I guess they. I mean, even in the story as it was told, this story about the devil, they said that those who stand in his way would be killed. And I guess they did it that way because if the devil was only punishing good people, or I mean, if he was only punishing bad people without causing any harm to good people, then the audience could theorize, hey, if the devil is only punishing bad people, doesn't it make him the good guy? But in this story, they cannot say that when good people get killed too.
Oh yeah, but in any case, thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, you enjoyed our prattle on this particular film. I liked this film. I mean, it was kind of a whodunit, like supernatural. Uh, the devil made me do it kind of a film, but um, it literally was about a soul the devil just couldn't receive, couldn't get. Like someone was like, "Ha ha! You're the devil, and you can't have me." Kind of a moment, you know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just the way you pronounced that was really hilarious.
In any case, thank you for listening. Have a great day, evening, and morning, wherever you are. And
Yeah, thank you all.
I would watch going on any elevators in the future. Stay away. You never know what kind of devils you're going to run into. So if there's anything with an elevator, just clear clear the fuck away from it. Don't even walk into that situation. Yeah.
Oh, it did.
Enjoy, ladies and gentlemen. And next week we will be going on about, and I think we'll do The Devil and Daniel Webster.
Ooh, cool.
Another devilish kind of movie from the 1940s or 50s, I believe. So stay tuned for some more exciting entertainment for you. And hopefully you enjoy what we talk about. So thank you.
It did.